Hi guys, just wanted to do a quick video today talking about my Fender Jaguar here. It is one of my favorite guitars that I've ever had. I've been playing Jaguars as my primary instrument for about 15 years, so I've had a couple of them. This one I put together, so it's kind of a parts caster. I put it together a couple years ago. I bought it about 3 years ago. I actually picked it up originally. It was a Squire that I got at the Guitar Center, and I really liked the Daphne blue color. I liked the tortoiseshell guard. That seemed to go really well with it, and I played it stock for a little while, and then I started modifying it. So I'll just kind of run through some of the stuff that I changed. So one of the things I changed was the neck. I put on it a this is a Mexican Fender Jaguar neck. I think it's one of the Vintera modified necks. So it's a 9.5 radius fretboard. It's got the vintage tuners, which I really like. Kind of fun that it's a 75th anniversary. You know, not that that really matters, but I just kind of like that. It's got a nice satin neck. It already had the satin finish on the back, which I really prefer for playability. It's a pretty thin neck. It's probably what they call like a modern C. It's not a fat neck, but it's really agile. I really enjoy playing it. I feel like it can move about it really quickly, especially with the shorter scale being a 24-inch scale. It also has the Pal Faro fretboard. I bought the neck off of Reverb, and the seller had a lot of good pictures of it, so I kind of waited and looked for one that I really liked. Sometimes it's a little darker depending on how hydrated it is and what lighting it's in, but I feel like the Pal Faro gets kind of a bad rap a lot of times, and it is kind of inconsistent, I think, with the overall look. But I really like the sandiness of this. It's in certain lighting it'll be a lot darker, which is fine, but it's just got kind of a nice sandy color to it. I've certainly seen a lot of rosewood fretboards that are as light as this, so that's fine. It doesn't really bother me. I think the playability, the comfort of it is really nice. The tone is really nice. It's not a gloss on the fretboard, so it's much like rosewood in that respect, and also just I think in density and tone and playability, it's similar to rosewood. But it looks really nice. It's got this kind of nice gold and honey color throughout it. A little bit of darkness here on the underside. Medium jumbo frets. It's got these like clay dot markers. Synthetic bone nut. I haven't changed the nut. The stock nut has been fantastic. I haven't had any problems with it. Maybe someday I'll get a handmade bone nut on there. But you know, it sounds great. It plays great. So there's no real reason to do that. And then down here in the body, I did change the pickups. These are Lollar Jaguar pickups. I really like Lollar pickups a lot. I think they do a fantastic job. It's just really nice quality tone. They're a little lower output usually, kind of vintage style pickups, but these are really nice and full sounding. So I really like that. That was a big game changer for me. You'll also see here the hardware. I'm a big fan of the Mastery bridge, so I put the Mastery bridge on most of my offsets, and it's just a great bridge. I feel like it really gives the tone a nice boost too. It's just such a sturdy bridge, such good contact with the strings that it just really gives you great quality sound. And I'm a big user of the tremolo, and so I put a Mastery tremolo on this as well, which I use a lot. It always goes back to 0 really nicely. I don't have any tuning issues. I usually kind of use like flutters. I'm not like a dive bombing, but I often have the trem arm in my hand, and I'm doing a lot of like fluttering and light pitch bending, and that's just a big part of my playing. I always feel like I miss it whenever I'm playing a guitar that doesn't have something like that on it. Other than that, pretty stock vintage wiring. I forget what I think they're 500K pots, I believe. It's a pretty bright sounding guitar, but I don't think it's 1K because I have a Jazzmaster with 1K and those are brighter. But it's got the stock wiring, and I use the stock wiring a lot, especially like if I'm playing alone at home. I'll have this control up in the rhythm position for like if I'm doing some looping, which I can certainly demonstrate. I got my rig set up here. I got my pedal board. I got my Fender Princeton 68 reissue. So I've got like a clone. I've got a Morning Glory, a Flint by Strymon, and then I use the TC Electronica Alter Ego X4, which is kind of like their flashback X4. I use that for looping a lot. But I keep that in the up position for kind of a darker tone, and you can definitely tell like here. Versus both pickups on in the lead position. Definitely a lot more high end there, but I use this a lot for looping. I'll do a like kind of a pseudo bass line. I'll loop and then I'll play over top of that, and then I really like the selectors down here. So you have your neck, your bridge, and then the strangle switch. And I feel like a lot of people overlook the strangle switch, but I use that a lot as well. It pulls out a lot of low end, and it kind of pulls down the output a little bit. So playing with different drive pedals, it'll give you different sounds. So it just gives you a lot of tonal options right here on the guitar, which is fun. A lot of times I'll be in the neck position with the strangle switch, which gives you kind of a bright neck sound, which is kind of fun, versus just straight neck. There's your low end back in there, and then middle position. I would say most guitars, especially single coil pickup guitars, I'm usually playing in the middle position to get hum canceling, but also I just like the full balance of the tone. It works really well. I am a big neck pickup guy too, though, so I do enjoy playing in the neck pickup, and then I'm much more reluctant to play just on the bridge pickup. It's not something I do a lot, but once in a while it works, especially with fuzz pedals. Sometimes that can be a really great tone. But other than that, yeah, I really am happy with this guitar. I put the Fender plate back there. Another thing that's really important is I did put shims in the neck pocket. Really, you got to shim these things, and here I'll show you. Well, I'll give you kind of a little bit of an angle. Maybe it's easier if I flip it around. There we go. Yeah. So you can see that there's a pretty good angle there, and you don't need a lot of downward angle, but definitely if the neck is going out too straight and the bridge is sitting too low on the body, you're not gonna get that angle, and then you're gonna get rattle, you're gonna get buzz, and that's gonna be annoying. So definitely like having the bridge a bit off the body is a good sign that you're getting that break angle. So I think in the neck pocket, I think I have a 0.75 degree Stumac shim in there. I could probably almost go to like a 1 degree shim on this. Maybe you don't want to go crazy high. I've seen sometimes when they have an angled neck pocket from the factory, it'll be too extreme sometimes, and then your pickups are way off the body, and I don't want that. I just want to be enough off that I got a great break angle right here. Yeah, other than that, I love the vintage tuners. I think they're fantastic. They look great. They perform great. This is just a fun guitar. I mean, honestly, I'm a big Jaguar fan. It just always feels like home base to me, and I just always have one. I've since I was about almost somewhere around 20 years old. I got my first one. I remember watching like A Place to Bury Strangers and some other bands that were using Jaguars, and I just thought it was just the coolest thing, and I always enjoy finding something that's maybe a little bit left of center. I don't want to say that like I'm the first guy who picked up a Jaguar by any means, but certainly Jazzmasters get a lot more love, and I got a Jazzmaster hanging there, and they're fantastic too. but I feel like the Jaguar is just always a little bit left of center. But I get a lot of good Strat sounds out of this thing. I get a lot of just like nice beefy tone and a lot of tonal options with the controls, and the controls don't bother me. When I used to play like punk rock and stuff, I would tape a lot of the controls down so I didn't hit anything, but these days I'm not moving around as much on stage, so I'm much happier to be able to access the controls for different tones. But yeah, I'll just give you a couple of quick sound samples here. I'll put a loop together, like I was saying. I'll throw it into the rhythm circuit. I'll create a bass loop, and then I'll just layer a little bit over top of that. But yeah, here we go. Let's just make something up on the fly. There you go, there's just some tones there. Just some use of all the different switches, and yeah, it's just a really fun guitar. I like the color. I just love the feel, the playability. It just is a guitar that I really enjoy, and hopefully that gave somebody some ideas about mods and different things you can do with this sort of guitar. Like I said, it's kind of just something that I've changed things out over time, which people have opinions on, which is fine. You know, I mean, I think if you're gonna just have fun with it and try some different stuff, you know, these guitars are all pieces. You know, they're all put together at a factory, and they're all designed in a way that you can swap things out, and it just can be a really fun project and something that you can make it your own. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this video.